So I'd just like to quickly call up our next speaker. We're going to change gears, change topic. Mike, are you there? Can you put your camera on?
Hi, everybody. Mike Mattera. Great to be here and great to be a part of Greening and Streaming. So just to give everybody a title overview. So hi, I'm Mike Mattera, Director of Corporate Sustainability and ESG Officer for Akamai. We work heavily with the Greening and Streaming team today on different programming and different efforts there. Uh, Trying to figure out ways not only where we can have kind of a broader impact on our sustainability focuses, but looking at ways where we can integrate industry best practices into our broader approach. It's been a great organization. We came to it or organically, and similar to Barbara's journey. Dom came out of nowhere with this brilliant idea to really start this organization. And really get it fed with impact. So at any rate, our vision, mission, and approach to sustainability. So at Akamai, we are creating a safer, more connected world to power and protect life online. And that is translated into how we think about our broader impacts on the environmental side. We are harnessing the power of Akamai Cloud to create a sustainable and equitable future for the world. So as a leader in the internet ecosystem, we take a responsibility in reducing our environmental impacts. We've decided to produce 5 goals by 2030. And the renewable energy side, I'm going to dig into a little bit here. So our 2030 goals today, we have a net zero goal, achieving net zero emissions across the Akamai Cloud platform by 2030. So that's all of our deployments and infrastructure today. Covers the predominant amount of countries that we're in, including over the 1,400 networks that we have globally. 100% renewable energy. We are working on powering our global operations, which also includes our offices and our extended AMP footprint and a variety of other areas with 100% renewable energy today. This is a mix of us going out and procuring new renewable energy projects and supporting them, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and also figuring out ways and where we can have a broader impact with our data center partners today. Additionally, we are building efficiencies, building impact, understanding our power consumption more, working on measurement, prioritizing software advancements, and looking at opportunities where we can deploy more efficient hardware. We engage our suppliers. So I know I mentioned earlier in the 100% renewable goal, we engage our data center partners, we engage our hardware providers, we engage our supply chain partners up and down the ecosystem today to delivering business results the right way through our responsible supply chain program. And this could be anything on renewable energy to deployments, to build outs, to manufacturing, to our data center partners, right? Anything end to end there that can have a broader impact. And then finally, our circularity program, we're enhancing lifecycle management, looking at opportunities where we continue and also push recycling 100% of our e-waste to e-Stewart standards today, and engaging our stakeholders in a variety of ways, whether it's on the legislative front, whether it's on the impact front, whether it's on the investment front, looking at opportunities there as well. So I just wanted to kind of give a high-level overview of the renewable energy program today, and just talk about a couple of the key metrics. For those of you that don't know, power usage effectiveness in a data center is incredibly critical today. Understanding what that metric is and how much power that your facilities are actually consuming as a result of the tangible assets like the cooling, UPSs. So today on average, we have a roughly a 1.4 PUE globally. It's across our entire footprint today. That is a steady from what we've seen in previous years, but continues to be an impactful metric at that. Clean energy data center partners. So today we have just over 302,000 megawatt hours of data center partners on our ecosystem more broadly. and they're providing us with clean and testable EACs today, energy attribute certificates that are more commonly referred to in most markets as renewable energy credits or RECs. And then Akamai caused have renewables. These are coming from the renewable energy projects that we're investing in today. It accounts for just over 161,000 megawatt hours. And these are through things like structured virtual power purchase agreements, but projects that are adding additionality and impact into the market. And today, for the renewable powered facilities that we have in the data center partners, we have just over 140 of them. That accounts for everything to the cooling and the HVAC, to the powering of the infrastructure and the individual servers that we have deployed in those environments today. So our strategy and approach has been pretty unique. We've been working with our data center partners quite extensively over the years, looking for opportunities of how we can get renewable power that is credible today through the attestation process. Akamai, among some of the other organizations, we started working with an organization very early on called the Future of Internet Power, to develop standards on how this pass-through would work, and then how it would broadly get calculated into the broader infrastructure today. And then just to highlight on the renewable energy projects, a lot of the projects that we're working on today, we are taking a consequential approach more broadly. So you might have heard that the likes of those in the Emissions First partnership, some of the big techs, or those working towards 24/7 that you've heard more broadly. Since our infrastructure is so spread out across so many geos, we've decided to take more of a consequential approach, looking at the emissions impact more broadly, and where we're procuring and how we're procuring it. So making sure that carbon intensity matches megawatt for megawatt hour in an impactful way to ensure we're making those reductions effectively. I just want to really take a closer look at some of the things that we're doing, and I had a graph in here earlier, but I took it out because it wasn't showing well, and it kind of has some weird colors in it. So bear with me while I explain it. So we use what is known as location marginal emissions from both Surety and Watt time today to measure our real-time emissions displacement per megawatt hour at each grid node. This essentially helps us look at kind of the broader impacts that we're having, not only in more in a real-time sense, but also be able to piece against actual power being consumed across the network at a little bit more of a granular level. In most sustainability programs, you might see yearly or monthly accounting. You could see something a little bit more broadly. Whenever we can gather power at a more local level, we are gathering this to really have more of an impactful view of what's happening in real time, and understanding how that's not only helping kind of the broader renewable energy projects that we have today, but also the broader impacts that we're having overall from total use of power. So we were able to be able to look at this. This helps us not only inference impact, but understand what do we have to do with our partners on the renewable energy side? What do we have to do on the efficiency front? What are some of the things that we have to do kind of more broadly, as a business to figure out ways where we can limit our overall impacts. So what does this enable? It enables accurate carbon accounting, which I just alluded to, gas and coal displaced and overall wind curtailment avoided. So it's showing real and lasting value relative to the overall power being used today, how that power translates into our footprint, and how that impact is translating into our overall use. And strategic setting and procurement decisions based on the highest abatement potential. So going out in the market, as I mentioned earlier, and looking at renewable energy projects that are having a cause and effect in a little bit of a broader way. And looking at, for those sort of higher abatement projects, a good example of this would be strategic investment that we made in Illinois a few years back, which is to come online in 2026, looking at the total carbon abatement impact as a result of taking old coal out of production and helping to green the grid more per megawatt hour for the level of abatement that you would get. So overall, strategically looking at these choices and making the decisions on the highest potential there for our overall infrastructure. This was the map I was talking about. So these are the projects that we have online in the U.S. today. We have a couple of other irons in the fire outside of the U.S. that have not been formally announced, but and more to come on this. We have some global opportunities as well. So that's the teaser. But these I don't some impact we know, and I'll take a project as an example. Based on the LMEs and based on the marginal emissions and based on the static emissions factors today, for the 48,000 megawatt hours and change that we had for production, there's a 14,800 metric ton difference between the LME and the typical market-based emissions calculation that companies would today. And this calculates, kind of the overall value in what we're getting when we're looking at opportunities in individual markets and understanding what is the highest common denominator that these projects can have, and what is the impact that they're actually having in the grid based on the generation profiles that are happening there at an individual time. So this helps translates into the decisions and impacts and things that we're looking at more broadly. It also helps us figure out how do we get to our net zero goal in a real and impactful way. So that is it for my presentation portion of this. I wanted to leave a couple of minutes for questions because I have to leave a little bit early before the end of this. So Ben, I'll turn it back over to you.
So thanks. That was very quick and to the point. Well, I haven't got any specific. There's been a few generic questions that we're going to address more in the final session. Oops, little accident here. But I have some questions for you. We have a minute or two. For a difficult one first, I'll be the devil's advocate. What do you say? What does Akamai say? What do you, Mike, say to those people who don't believe there's any such thing as clean energy?
So I mean, it's all relative, I guess, Ben, right? I think that clean energy is something that does exist today. It's being supported by corporations. I do think that there's a lot of challenges in how clean energy is being deployed more broadly. So I would say if I were to venture my overall thoughts, I think that businesses can have an impact here in what they're causing in the marketplace today. I would also say that clean energy is key to a transitional approach to our overall impacts, right? As we expand, as we see the growth of AI, as we see the growth of services and things of that nature, as we transform more into this digital age, right. Clean energy is going to become a key component, not only on the reliability side, but a key component in how we more broadly transition into an energy mix that is lower carbon. So if I were to give you kind of my high level today, I think that's why it's important for corporations of all sizes to get involved with talking to suppliers on renewable energy opportunities, working in their own out in the marketplace today on PPAs and creating net new renewable generations in an area where where there are higher concentrations of carbon load, and going into those markets and looking for a way for a cause and effect. So to answer your original question, does clean energy really exist? It does. It takes time to produce. It takes time to install. It also takes time to figure out the areas where it's going to have the highest impact. So I would say yes, it does.
Okay, I have some other devil's advocate questions, but
Sure.
first there's an audience question
Yeah.
from Francois. Francois from Axido. He's another important person in the sustainability environment, very active, and as is his company Axido. And he asks you, his first great presentation, Mark, how do you handle large suppliers by emissions which haven't started their ESG journey and therefore aren't really able to provide any environmental targets and metrics?
That's a great question. So we work with them directly, and we realize that everyone's going to be in their strategies or their approaches a little bit differently. So direct engagement with those suppliers is incredibly important for us. Working with them, sharing best practices, looking at opportunities on that front, and how those best practices translate into their own operations. And then looking at areas where we can either help support, whether that's through, like I said, information sharing. It could be something like anchoring a PPA as an opportunity, looking at aggregational opportunities and things on that front. But also, helping and showing them, this is where we started, which was just measuring our scope one and two. Now, if you look at our emission statement today, which is posted on our microsite. It's 4 pages long. It's very detailed. There's a lot of calculations that go behind that. So I think end to end, it's really the direct engagement on the education front. It's the communications.
You're not ready at this stage to say we can't work with you because you don't have any data yet. You maybe in a few years' time. I want to push you forward because we have
Sure.
another question, and
Yep.
we've only got a minute or so left. Yeah? A question from Alithea. If a post facility placed their data in the cloud versus on a local media server, what would be the pros and cons be in terms of emission? I thought to get the answer from you before you leave.
So if you're placing in the cloud versus like a
Local media server.
local, yeah. So I would say it all depends on the service, right? It's like on a CDN as an example, I would say it's definitely more. I would say it's more impactful to place it because that CDN and those maps and those operations are overall being shared. So I think you're going to get a higher value for your buck on the carbon emission side, right? It'll be much lower as a cause and effect on the company because you'll be sharing that. On the other side of that, depending on the services, anything that you have to deploy as a bare metal server is going to have a higher cause and effect, not only on the carbon footprint but the energy usage. It's also going to have a higher impact more broadly because it's only being used for one individual purpose. So anything that can be virtualized and then virtualized into the cloud and then managed. I think certainly can have kind of a broader impact on a reduced energy footprint and reduced carbon emissions footprint.
Well, thank you, Mike. You were a brilliant speaker and perfectly on time.
Thanks,
And I
Ben.
gather you won't be able to stay for our Q&A at the end, but
Well, not.
Mike is a member of Greening and Streaming, so if the discussion goes on and we need more answers from Mike, we'll be able to handle them all offline. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.